Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the core team, Mental Health Webinar Series, and the organizer, the Department of Psychology, the American College Madurai, and the associating partners, Madras School of Social Work, Chennai, Red Pond Educational and Psychological Research Center, Madurai, MS Chellamuthu Institute of Mental Health and Rehabilitation, Madurai, Yellow Pond Counseling Center, Madurai, and Synco Oncological Association, Turkey. We welcome you all to today's 401 session. And today we have Dr. Vipin Sharma with us, and he is a faculty at English Institute in Saudi Arabia. Sir, we welcome you very much, and thank you for accepting our request and being present here this evening. So on behalf of our core team, I welcome all the participants also today. And now I request Mr. Deepan, one of our core team member, to talk a few words about the speaker and get him introduced to the group. Over to you, Deepan. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, welcome to everyone. And today we have with us Dr. Vipin Sharma. Dr. Vipin Sharma has his qualifications in English and sociology. So he has done his master's in English and sociology. He had then done his advanced studies with regard to MPhil in English, and he has completed his PhD in American literature. Apart from that, Dr. Vipin has teaching experience of 22 years. This is both in the undergraduate and the postgraduate level of students, and he also handles research. So his research specialization includes ELT, translation, eco-criticism, and American literature. Dr. Vipin Sharma has supervised the MPhil for 8 candidates, the PhD for 2 candidates, and he has evaluated the PhD thesis of 8 candidates. His publications include a total of 50, and he has published a total of 7 books. He has a lot of a vast area of experience in the field of research with regard to English language and literature. That is in ESL, EAP, EFL teaching, business communication, professional communication, technical writing, and American literature. So we are very much privileged to have you, Dr. Vipin Sharma, with us today to talk on the effect of life skills education on students' mental health. So thank you, sir. Over to you, ma'am. Yes, Dr. Vipin. So over to you, Dr. Vipin. You may start your presentation, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, very good evening to each and one who has joined with me. And it's wonderful to be with you today in this grand evening. And we are with the very wonderful topic, which is pertinent to the students, not only the students, with the faculty also as well. That is effect of life skills education on students' mental health. Here it's only students, but I'll try to include each one of us for this wonderful topic. As we are passing through, let me come back to a bit of fundamentals and the background of this. Why do we need to concentrate on the various contentious issues that are related to our mental health? There are multi challenges, effects, or because of multitude of problems that we encounter each and every day. And for the last 1 year, we are in very difficult, that is unprecedented, unparalleled, and unforeseen situations that each one of us is still passing through. And similarly, in the recent decades, the psychologists have come to the conclusion in their various studies dealing with this mental health and behavioral disorders, as well as social deviations also, that many of the disorders and we call injuries also sometimes are related to the inability of individuals to properly handle and analyze their own situations and their conditions. How to handle these situations and problems, that because these will come quite often and these will not spare us in this very dynamic era, in these especially these volatile circumstances. So lack of control, personal inadequacy to confront the situation, and many times we feel it's very difficult and we are unprepared to solve problems in the right way. What we have been expected to, conversely, we deal with those problems. So given the ever increasing complexity of society, the college situation, and the expansion of social relationships, because we are into global arena right now, which has no boundaries, preparing people, especially our school children, and now including students also, to deal with all types of difficult situations. Now it has become mandatory. We have got no other two options, but it has become mandatory to sort out these problems. So in this regard, even the psychologists and the support of national and international global organizations, NGOs, they have started taking up this topic, that is teaching life skills around the world and at the school level nowadays, to prevent the all sort of mental illness and social abnormalities. And given the expansion of what I would call is a school-based mental health services in different states, different countries, WHO, that is, the international body, World Health Organization, has developed life skills research initiative as a part of the organization mental health program. So I shall be focusing on some of the life skills here, why these are important and how these help us, in dealing with our daily life problems. So I'm sharing my slides with you, and I hope I shall be able to screen. When it's visible, sir, please let me know. Is my screen visible to you, sir?
So it is uploading. It's visible, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay. Okay, the topic of the day is effect of life skills education on mental health. So one by one, and I request all of you to bear with me because I have, probably 45 to 50 minutes to cover all these slides. So why do we need to address the topic today? Let's analyze, a global scenario about the mental health. If you talk about the school children, so 1 in 5 children and youth have a diagnosable emotional, behavioral, or mental health disorder. 1 in 5. You think about the gravity of the situation. Where are we in this? And in 10 young people, I'm talking about less than 25, 18 to 24, 25. 1 in 10 young people have mental health challenge that is severe enough to impair how they function at home. Of course, wherever they are diversely affected. So that is why we need to address the topic. And this is last 8.6%, that is called severe mental illness. This is data from US study. So young adults aged 18 to 25 years had the highest prevalence of SMI, that is severe mental illness. Now we can just see how that situation is. Now we will talk about the life skills, and later we will try to correlate how does the totality, the life skills impact the mental health, whether positive or negatively. So we go through each and every core aspect of life skills, why these, and let's go one by one on. Now, WHO has given its a definition about the life skills, the abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that enables individuals to deal effectively with the demands and challenges of everyday life. So this is how the problem starts. See, right from childhood, or we can say since birth to death, womb to tomb, we are dealing with so many problems. Until we take care of those problems, we are not going to get rid of this. So why, if we are not able to tackle it properly in an organized way, in the manner with it has to be handled with, so these will overpower us. These will take care of us. If we allow these problems to take care of us, so definitely the situation is not conducive or positive or constructive for us. So we are going to the downfall. So this is all about the personal growth, the WHO guidelines. So the mental health will definitely impact your each and every aspect, whether you talk about the learning, whether you talk about goals, whether you talk about vision, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, curiosity, creative, anything you talk about, and it will be impacted by your mental health. Now let's see the life skill education. So behavior change approach. So I expect after the presentation, I would like to see my students and my participants having brainstorming session. And I would like to see a bit change prior to the presentation and the end of the presentation, because I would like to address a balance of these three. Of course, I have also added one more: knowledge, attitude, and skills. Even if we add habits, it becomes cash. So if you talk about knowledge, everybody knows about knowledge. You need awareness, you need familiarity of the situations and the comprehensibility. And if you talk about the attitude, it shows your feelings, your beliefs, your temperament, your behavior. And if these two, if you inculcate into good habits, then it will definitely enhance your personality, factual information, and it will make you professionally sound. And when we talk about all these, if we blend all these three, it will lead to competence. That's what is needed in today's arena. If you talk about employability, its ultimate aim of our study is to get employed somewhere, get engaged somewhere, whether you become entrepreneur or you get a job in any multinational company or any organization. This will only help you your competence. So this is not one-day process. So when you blend all these three, it will lead to competence. Then why do we need, again, identification of problems, development of abilities, how to act, and finally to lead a better life. So if we are able to get all these points in our real life, I'm sure it's going to be quite easy for us. That is, we are able to diagnose our problem, and we shall be able to develop the abilities to tackle these problems, and we are apt and adapt to react to these problems timely and effectively. And if we are able to do so, definitely we are going to get good results, and we are going to climb or step higher and higher. Now, mental health students' success. How we always talk about that it affects, impacts, it reduces the students' success. How does it hinder? How we feel that this has become a constraint? I mean, life skills. Good mental health is critical to students' success in school and life. The school means we talk about college also in life. Research shows, I have gone through a couple of articles, maybe more. The research shows that the students, I'm talking about particular research here, who receive social, emotional, and mental health support achieve better academically. Now, when I talk about all these three, social, emotional, and mental health support, so I'm talking about both at home and in the class also. I'm talking about formal and informal environment both. So if you subtract of exclude one, I'm sure this mission cannot be achieved. So the college environment, classroom behavior, on-task learning, and students' sense of affinity or kinship or connectedness and well-being is all in totality adds to success. So that is how we want to create an environment where we are able to learn how to tackle, how to adapt, and how to innovate new practices so that we can make our life more successful. So I'm sure we are heading towards the success. How? Life skills involved concerning mental health. How does decision making also? Creative thinking, interpersonal relationship skills, self-awareness, self-awareness building skills, empathy, and coping with the stress and emotions. I'm going to deal with each one by one. So these all points will cater to the mental health. If we are in good health, definitely we are able to take even better decisions. We are able to think better. We can develop all these qualities. Then self-awareness, self-esteem, when we talk about personality factor, inner router, and self-confidence are essential tools for understanding one's strength and weaknesses. So sometimes we call SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, threat, and opportunities. So many times when we go through these points, we feel that these are quite easy. Of course, yes, nothing is impossible. I mean, in this world, everything is possible, provided we have a keen, we have a just, we have that you can say commitment, obsession to do the things. So both these we shall be dealing with one by one. Everyone talks about 21st century skills. Wherever you go, in every presentation, the students also ask whether you go for the graduate students, UG or PG. So everybody is focusing about what are the requirements that we have to cater in 21st century skills. So basically, I have the condensed into three. Of course, these are 12, but I have condensed it to three, squeezed it to three: learning skills, literacy, and life skills. This you will come to know because see, if you are business students, the other Sometimes we call it 7 C's in writing, but here we talk about 4 C's. Now, altogether, these 3 categories cover all 12 21st century skills that contribute to students' future career. So I am taking from UG to the last lab where you apply for your employment, for your job. So I'm sure that if you are with me for another, say, 30 minutes, and we shall definitely refine the mental ability. And I would like to apprise each one of you that this is not itself incomplete. When we talk about all 12 or 3, so there are many. But I have just picked up the vital ones. Therefore, this is not an exact list of career readiness skills, but they are the career readiness skills that overlap. Now, these are the 4 skills I was talking about, 4 C's, that is creativity, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. So this you must be aware of before this. Communication, I'm sure you all are aware of. So I have, many slides, but I will cut short these slides about this communication. So these 3 definitely I'll take on. So we call all these 4 learning skills. Learning skills, they tell us about the mental processes required to adapt and improve upon a modern work environment. Why do we say modern work? Because if you talk about traditional work, go back 50 years before, 40 years before, 30 years before, these skills go through massive changes. Now, you must have not talked about these skills maybe in 80s and 90s. You might have heard about only communication, or sometimes you talked about cooperation, coordination, now collaboration. Sometimes you talk about innovation. So these are the few changes that we talk about. The critical thinking, when we talk about decision making quality, so this aspect comes into action. When you think rationally, logically, and then creativity, when you start thinking outside the box. If you go through the history of Satya Nadella and the Google CEO, you will have the glances on this. They always thought outside the box and still thinking beyond what we cannot even foresee. And then the collaboration, when you are working in group, whether we talk about peer or when we talk about group of 7 or 8 students. So this is helpful for each one of us, whether we are students or teachers. So these are the 4 life skills that we need to inculcate, in every student. And then we talk about the second part, that is literacy skills. Now we are into digital arena, because all of a sudden, the coronavirus has shown the ways, overnight switching or from the face-to-face or on-site to off-site, that is virtual online learning. So initially, remember that particular day or night when we were asked to switch our teaching and learning process from site, or we call it from college site or face-to-face to the virtual. So we were totally overloaded with the taxing schedules, and we were not unable to find out what to do, what not to do. But slowly we adopted, we adapted, and we adapted to the methods. And today we have become expert of online learning. Okay, so I'm talking about here literacy skills that deals with information, media, and technology. Here, The information literacy, this describes understanding facts, figures, statistics, and data. Media talks about the methods and outlets in which information is published. You are well aware of nowadays. I'm not including social media, but that is also part of media literacy. And technology literacy. So even for social media, we can have a separate lecture. I have a couple of papers on that also. So that also contributes, massive in our teaching learning process. And the last is technology literacy. When we talk about the laptops, electronic gadgets, then you have iPads, mobiles. So these all electronic gadgets, they make the information age possible. So life skills is the final category. And here, if I use an acronym, that is FLIPS: flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. Now, why do we talk about when we are packed inside the four walls? Why all of a sudden we found the various type of typical problems they are coming up overnight? I mean, last 1 year we have seen the anxiety, depression, frustration, and it's so many. I won't like to name out a few here. And we have seen in the film industry what is happening. I mean, in the students' life also. So why? Because we could not handle our problems properly. And it's the time to wake up. It's a wake up call for all of us. It's a warning. Until we pull up our socks, I'm sure, I mean, we are going to suffer more than this. So we have to involve ourselves. We have to involve ourselves and deviating from the plans as needed. So do not be rigid. Let's show some sense of flexibility, molding and evolving according to the situation, and motivating a team to accomplish. So when we talk about the collaboration, even a classroom also, not every time teacher, but students also can be leaders. And initiative, starting projects, strategies. And when we take initiative, it is obvious you will find a lot of resistance from here and there. There, you have to tackle it with flexibility and leadership. Then when you take initiative, you have to show your efficiency. So you have to show your guts. Okay. The reason is the moment you show your productivity, it should reach every nook and cranny of the organization. Okay. And automatically your social skill will definitely develop when you work with the other people in a team and you build a network. Now, what you see in the social media, you have a message, you have a meeting. I'm sitting here, I'm interacting with you, thousand kilometers away, and we are interacting with each other, and we have formed a network, strong network, or for mutual benefit. Why? When I take mutual benefit, I also get from you. When we interact together, it happens that many ideas flow in. So we learn from each other. So there are a couple of points more. Learning to know. This I'm talking about the mental aspect, a broad general knowledge with the opportunity to work in depth on a smaller number of subjects. Okay, when you go in detail, if you talk about the learning theories also, you will have a cognitive theory that also deal with the student's brain. So we are here to learn to know, then learning to be self-management life skills. So when you build yourself so strong, so flexible that you are able to act independently, you are able to take decision what is right and wrong. So that time you are able to manage yourself. That is self-awareness. communication skills. Of course, everybody knows about this. The most of the problem they do occur because of miscommunication, distortion of information, because we all depend on the communication skills. And the first step is the students might have a 90%, 95% or meritorious and illustrious, the academic record, unless you are able to project yourself, communicate yourself in front of the interviewers. So how they are going to believe you that you are worth attending this job? So most important part is your communication skills, and then learning to do. So you must have control over one's environment. So I'm not talking about the external environment. Whatever the situations and conditions, flow or prevail around you, you can manipulate, you can play with this in positive, not in the negative way, constructively. I'm talking about workplace. Okay. So there you need to show your skill, your temperament, your attitude. Okay. And you have to deal with the problems and situations. When you work in team, definitely you have different opinions. Okay. So they will definitely there will be conflicts, but you have to overcome with your competence. So this is means for actions. Then self-awareness, empathy, creative skills, critical thinking, decision making. So then the problem solving, interpersonal skills, effective communication, coping with stress, and coping with emotions. So these are the points which we need to inculcate over or learn to get over the mental stress. Now, self-awareness. So remember, when you have a self-confidence, when you have, why do we say he's confident enough to deal with the problems? This is all about he knows about self. Self means you should know your strengths, your weaknesses, your ability to handle the different tasks. And when you're capable to take responsibility for your own behavior, when you are able to control your thought, your feelings and actions and transform to deal with the difficult situations, adverse situations. So that increases your self-awareness. It would definitely help you to identify the state when you are in stress or you feel comfortable. Each one of us, everyone, it's clear that most of us we always feel that we are stressed, but sometimes when we gain something we should enjoy that pleasure also. So self-awareness is the prerequisite to effective communication and interpersonal relations. If you are happy, if you are in good mood, so definitely you are able to communicate confidently and make good relationship, a good bonding with other people. Empathy. So this I feel very important as far as first we are human beings and we should always stand by others. Put yourself into someone's shoes before you are biased or partial. Okay. So at the outset, you may feel that he is dozing or he's pretending to be what is not. But later when you have empathy, so definitely you are going to tackle it in a nice way, effective way. This is ability to think what life is for other person, even in a situation that you may not be familiar with. So when we say only the wearer knows where the shoe pinches, that is only the empathy. So here this picture symbolizes the empathy. Critical thinking, again, when you try to analyze information and experience objectively. So how we are going to do is, when you have got ample strength with you. Ample strength does not mean the physical strength. Okay. So over a period of time, you develop certain qualities that eventually help you to analyze information and experience objectively. Means if you split a problem part by into pieces, definitely you are going to deal with those effectively. So again, I'm trying to correlate with the mental health. It can contribute to health by helping us to recognize and assess the factors that influence attitudes and behavior, such as values, peer pressure, and the media. Okay, most of us, the moment you get some news on social media, we get disturbed. That is the main point. Now, when we talk about this, please have a glance in yourself. How many hours in a day or night you contribute to social media? You deal with the social media. Probably not less than 4 hours if you talk cumulative, 4 to 5 hours, or it may lead to 8 hours even. So you can think of unnecessary getting problems. See, we don't ask you to abstain from social media. Absolutely not. Okay, but eventually it becomes a cumbersome process. Respond adaptably and with flexibility to the daily life situation. Okay, so nothing would change, I tell you, about as far as the problems are concerned. Nothing would change. These will pile up more. Okay, but only thing is you have to adapt and be flexible to deal with these problems. We call it creative thinking outside the box. Try to find some new solutions to the problems. See, before pandemic, even I myself, I have never thought of taking classes online, continuous taking classes online. I'll prepare some presentations, some activities that students can do it in terms of effective academic writing, even business communication skills, technical report writing, and many more. But now we have done it. Now, this is forcefully. This was done all of a sudden, or we were put into the situation where we had the no other way. But for you, my dear students, you start learning it today onwards. So it's not too late. Even we also learn. Okay, what I mean to say is that try to adopt it every aspect, whether it's seeing the pros and cons into your life, so that it becomes easy at the end of the moment when you need to fall into a situation where you need to take yes or no decision. So you can very well take that decision without giving much stress to your mind. Okay, this is all about talks about the decision making and the problem solving. This is how, see, many people can solve the problems, but the one who is unique in character, who thinks outside the box, beyond the box, he has many alternatives and he chooses the best one. Then, see, this is the example how you can develop. I'm talking about kids, and it moves to the elders also, adults and adults also. Decision making, yes, no, you know about this because when you are at the position to take decision, so abilities to assess available options. Okay, so to foresee the consequences, when I talk about pros and cons, this also is a part of decision making. And when you are not able to take decision, that is also no decision. Okay, if you are, whether you are taking or not, that is also decision. Remember this. It's not that you have not said yes or no. It is not a decision. That is also decision. You have goals, you have choices, and you how to cope up with the stress and about your choices that you are going to have ahead in your life. So decision at every step you have to take it. You have to take decision at every step, whether it's a primary today, tomorrow, or after your graduation or post graduation. Okay, so the situation will change, the aims and objective will change. That's it. Even when you are around crossing 40 also, then your priorities get changed. But again, you have to take decision. So this is very common. Most of the presenters, they use this. I will give my 100% dedication towards. Okay, everybody says in slides, but do we follow in our real life? Okay, that will exemplify the power of decision making. So this is about the problem solving. We talked about critical thinking. We now talk about problem solving, adjustment to the situation. Okay, it gives you the answers to WH questions. Okay, so then it enables us to deal constructively with problems in our lives. Okay, the very important problem what we have, if it remains unresolved, definitely contribute to our mental stress. Now you are only aware of the mental stress about the assignments, about the homework, about the, you can say, the weekly test, monthly tests, or the final exams, practicals. Okay, so they will add all to your mental strain, mental stress. So effective communication, I will not go detail into this. You all know that to express verbally or non-verbally, remember around 65% communication is effective communication is done non-verbally, with your body language, with your facial expressions. Okay, we call kinesics, proxemics, body language. So you should be very, very careful. So when you interact with the people here, we are not going to live around city only. In the moment you finish your graduation or post graduation, you are going to work in a global arena, global circle. Okay, global situation, global scenario. That setting will not be the same as you are in today. So you need to learn about other culture, how to behave in that culture. Suppose tomorrow if you have to deal with the people from Europe or from Western or from Middle East, so how are you going to express your opinion, your feelings, your desires? Okay, so you have to communicate freely. How you're going to communicate freely? When you know each and every bit of the culture and the situation you are in. So this comes from the experience. All these qualities you get from experience, and you are able to ask for advice or help. Even today also from your teachers, from the experienced experts, they can be called for the sessions, interactive sessions, where you can receive, retain, recall, and reproduce communicating effectively. So that can be individual. When I call individual, means in your family, moving to from informal to formal, and in the formal circle, start from the class onwards. Start from the class onwards, then you can have the first intra-class, then inter-class, then you can go for inter-college. Okay, then you may call industry experts also, and you can learn how to communicate. So this is about when I talked about the communication. So these are few you all are aware of. These are part of your curriculum, oral, written, symbolic, technological, that you are all dealing with. And when you talk about the non-verbal communication, that is the body, semiotic, and eye contact. So these are two signals. This is verbal. Both advantages and disadvantages you are all aware of. And 7 C's that we all talk about. So I'm not touching your curriculum part. Process also, and then interpersonal relationships. We build so many relationships, so many networks around us. Okay. And you need to find out which network gives you the best output that you aspire for. Okay. Don't indulge yourself into destructive networks. Nowadays, you have so many, rumors, canards on the social media. Try to build up network with your peer group, with your, you can say, with your colleagues. I'm talking about the fellow students. Okay. Fellow students means you can talk about inter-college, inter-university, inter-states. Okay. Make a group for academic writing, make a group for mathematics, reasoning, make a group for commerce students. I mean, in your own specific field, you can create network, you can develop network, and you will learn how to deal with those interpersonal relationship. So why do you need it? It's not only today, even the whole life. Okay. So you have to keep and maintain your good relations throughout, not only in the family, but moving beyond the families, outside the walls also. Okay. So ending the relationship is not a solution criteria. You can mold. Okay. You can build upon on your strengths. And if you are able to have a strong bonding, it means automatically it leads to good mental health and social well-being. Remember this. When you are happy, you are automatically, sharing good feelings. And now I think you are listening for the last probably 1 year. This thing you are doing it inside the four walls. Okay, despite repeating lectures and presentations, okay, you have to sleep, you have to exercise, but how many of us follow these practices? Okay, it is very easy to say rather to do, I know it, but still if we want to take care of our health, we have to do. So we have to take sound sleep, say 8 hours. It depends upon your age. We need to exercise regularly. Can be indoor, can be, now if not outdoor, cannot be excuse, then indoor, even yoga, meditation. Okay, then you can socialize even on the social media. So respond to emotions effectively, very important. Remember, people are going to make fun of you if you're not able to handle it properly. And here, now suppose the situation's environment changed from the previous one. Remember the new normal. We are going to have new normal, which is not the same as before. So keeping your anger, your emotions, or your stress for a longer period of time is not going to help you. It will again take back you to the very destructive mode. And until you reduce your emotion, your anger, your stress, how you're going to reduce is adopting. You have to being flexible, okay, and keeping the merits and demerits of the situation in mind. And during amid these crises, you have to learn how to take pleasure, how to feel relaxed, how to stay calm and composed. Okay, and keep the tension that is unnecessary, what you can avoid. Okay, if you are able to handle these, so you are going to have a sound mental health. So how we are going to tackle with this? We talked about many ways. Of course, these are long term, but still we have implement time and safe spaces in class for regular check-ins. This is for the institution also. When we again assemble together, when we are coming to the previous mode, of course, it will not be same, probably blended learning, online and offline both, but still we can do a little bit to cater to help our students. Implement time and spaces in class for regular check-ins with the students. That is most important. Now, we should not keep everything for the counselors to deal with. I'm talking the students. Basically, in colleges, we do not have these practices. So, same like our worthy convener and organizers, they have conducted or they have been conducting the seminars on mental health. I really appreciate. This is a wonderful initiative. The authorities have taken to give basic mental health training to all teachers. We cannot escape from the fact that we are the first to deal with the students rather than the administrations. Okay, so administration will come later. First, at first hand we will deal with the students. Give basic mental health training to all students, not only teachers but the students. And we are conducting seminars. We can conduct workshops. We can invite doctors. We can invite counselors, and we can manipulate our curriculum also. I'm not dealing with that. That is a very big issue that I am dealing with here also. We are planning to customize the curriculum. Okay. Even the CBSE, it has reduced 30% of the syllabus for, I think, 12th standard students, what I'm hearing. Have a wellness center on campus designed by students and for students and easily accessible to all students. This is the most important point. Have a wellness center on campus. We are not talking about the outside the purview of college campus. Inside, designed by students, give freedom, autonomy to the students, let them prepare for themselves, and easily accessible to all students. Okay, so you can talk about the entertainment section. You can talk about the first aid center. You can talk about the physical activities, mental activities, all sort of activity. You can have these in mind. So with the last slide, I feel we have dealt with amply with all sort of issues regarding life skills. Now, after going through this, you can say intense presentation, I shall be able to remove a bit of ignorance, not the entire, and able to create general awareness, or generate or inculcate or trigger or ignite in your minds, and I'm able to motivate you to learn, to gain knowledge, to get ready, to change yourself, to accept the situation as it is. Okay, and by inculcating good health habits, adopting a good lifestyle. I'm sure these all points, if you adopt carefully, meticulously, consistently, you don't need to obsess all these things. Rather, you make it a habit. Okay, let any worst situation fall or falls on your way. I'm sure you can write down those problems with the best solutions, best commitment in your career, and no one can stop you achieving your aim and objective. So last but not the least, any situation that you fall in, you come across, will teach you something. Okay, make it a treasure, your treasure. Okay, don't throw it out. It becomes an experience for you to deal with future problems. And now the time has come to start thinking out of the box. Nothing traditional practices. Try to innovate, try to renovate, try to revisit and redesign your practices, okay, to find a solution to complex problems. And whenever you try to create something new, start analyzing the problems, okay, what is good and what is bad for you. I'm sure the sky is the limit for you. Okay, with this, I conclude my lecture, and thank you very much for joining. Any question? I'm open to the questions, please.
Thank you very much, Vipin sir. It was a very comprehensive presentation, and you have been motivating throughout your presentation. You have been detailing about how important attitude, knowledge, and skills are in our lives. Thank you so much for that. And now it's time to discuss. I request the participants to unmute your mics and discuss with the resource person, or you can put your questions in the chat box. We can take it forward to discuss. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
So in this developing nations like our country, the awareness on the psychology itself is low. Like people think like no, the moment you talk about psychology or well-being, mental well-being, they think of mental disorder and such kind of things. How long do you think it will take to stabilize? Because the requirement of psychologists, the mental treatment centers, etc., is going to be phenomenal in the times to come. But we are not ready, we are not prepared for that. So, what all methods do you think we should adopt to catch up with the requirement?
It's a very burning and pertinent question, sir. Thank you very much for enlightening us. So
Thank you, sir.
if you specifically particularly ask me, there is a one solution. What I feel, charity begins at home. Okay, it has to start from. We are going to reaching to the end of the problem. See where does it arise? What is the beginning? We do not reach to the acme or echelon or the peak. Nipping in the bud is the best solution to the problem. When I talk about, I have included children in here. I know that we have undergraduate and postgraduate students with me. I know it. But why I have included the school children here? The reason is because they are close to us. Even if the undergraduate and postgraduate students, they have younger siblings, they have cousins, they have family members, and the faculty members as well. If we teach our kids what is right and wrong right from the beginning, we don't say this is wrong or right. We are into joint family. Now we have gone to the skeleton, single family. So this is impact. So again, coming to the roots, values, our traditions, our culture. Okay. Now moving to the next point, outside the house, coming to school. Now the onus is on the teachers. Let's develop an atmosphere where the students are equally participative. Okay, give them power in the sense not, I mean, to authority or something like that. Involve them to activities. For example, how many, I mean, why is there any need to teach value education in school nowadays? We have, you know, that happiness class. In Delhi, we have a new initiative, happiness classes, happiness curriculum from Finland. Why there is a need to adopt this? Can't we remain, I mean, be happy at home? Yes, in the classroom and atmosphere, let's create an atmosphere where the students are, I mean, are eager to interact with us. Why do we create an authoritative or dictatorial environment in the class? Let's have a democratic setup in the class. For example, students now give, you know, ample power to the students. Okay, give them topic, give them the guidelines. Okay, you do it. I know you cannot, you know, build Rome is not built in a day. I know it. It's very easy to say but done. But let's try it out. If you have, suppose, 10 sections, commerce, arts, and science, and even postgraduate also, let postgraduate students deal with their youngsters, make associations, what we say, social groups. We say entertainment, research. I mean, we say literary clubs. So what are those? We can make both formal and informal groups. And I'm sure, you know, we cannot have overnight solution to this problem. I'm talking about right from the beginning. If we teach our students what is right or wrong, slowly, when they come to school, automatically things will be easy for you to tackle with. So these problems will slowly will vanish. And I'm not sure that these will, you know, overnight these will get rid of this, but I'm sure we can mitigate these problems eventually. So this is all my I have to say for this.
Thank you very much, Vipin sir. As we don't have any questions in the chat box, it makes it clear that you have made it all clear in your presentation and it was very well explained. So now I think it's time to give the honor of vote of thanks. And now I request Dr. Subhashri ma'am, one of our core team members, to give her words of thanks on behalf of all of us. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandra. I'm really thankful for the presenter. I know Dr. Vipin has done a wonderful presentation on life skills and its usage in everyday life, especially when it comes to the children. And he has also given all the details what is necessary to keep up from the from the teachers, parents, and as well as from the the stakeholders who is using it. And he has very well clearly mentioned the nuances as well as the techniques and how it could be used in everyday life. And I feel that it is very effectively, clearly spoken in detail. Thank you so much, Dr. Vipin Sharma. It's really wonderful to have you here. On behalf of the Department of Psychology, American College, and as well as the collaborating institutions, Madras School of Social Work, MS Chellamuthu Rehabilitation Center, and also Psycho-Oncology Turkey, all the other associates, I really place a record of gratitude for your wonderful session. And I also thank all the participants who have been traveling with us. And we are going to hit 1 year by this April 13th. And we all really love your cooperation and really thank your cooperation and support throughout this mental health webinar series. And I thank our team lead, Dr. Suresh Kumar, and also all the core team members who has been pillar of support for the entire webinar series. And they have been immensely working as an background officers for this entire series. Thank you so much. And the participants, looking forward your participation tomorrow on yet another topic and yet another session with yet another expert. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a wonderful session indeed. Thank you very much, each one of you. Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.